Watch as we remove and recycle this 100 square meter house to make room for 3 brand new homes. All 3 homes are 3-bedroom. The front house with a garage is 123 square metres and the back 2 units are 80 square metres each. Coming up, we'll show you the project from start to finish, the design, including building details, and stick around to the end of the video where we'll walk you through the finished homes. First things first, the old house needs to go. On this page here, you can see the proposed subdivision, and you can see once the house is removed, there will be 3 lots. You can also see where all the proposed services are going to be run down either side of the section. So we're proposing to chop the section in 3, lot 1 being 228 square metres, lot 2 being 155 square metres, and lot 3 being 123 square metres. This page here is the subdivision in a nutshell and has been prepared by the survey company in Upper Hutt. They are your go-to if you're thinking of doing this kind of work. The designers then take the subdivision scheme plan and the topographical survey and start working out how to build the homes. Being a flat site, there was no earthworks other than preparing under the foundations. This involves scraping out some dirt, chucking down some base course. Now that the old house is removed, the engineer can do his final soil test. The engineer identified that in the back area of the section, it was going to need some additional piles. Nothing too scary, and we sorted this out straight away. We want to build good houses on good foundations. Speaking of which, you can see the updated foundation plans here for lot 2 and 3. You can see the outline of the slab and where all the riprap waffles are going to go. You can see these shaded areas here are thicker footings. These grey circles are all the additional piles. As well as that, we have some engineered deck posts on the north side of the building, and they only need to go into the ground 400 deep in a 500mm wide hole. A relatively straightforward design. As soon as we've got the driven piles in, the boys can get to work on site, putting up the formwork. The plumber will come in and do their drains, sand and polythene go down, pods, steel, concrete. Boom, we have a foundation, and as I like to say, the job is now set in stone. You know what's not set in stone? My subscriber count. Help us hit our 7-figure goal. Go ahead, click the button. It really does help us out. Here's a topographical survey of the original lot. You can see that the home is sitting smack bang in the center of the section on a pretty funny angle. This used to be the norm back in the 60s and 70s. The green line shows us where the legal boundaries are. The dashed line shows us where the existing fences are. It's quite common that these two things don't line up, but more on that later. You can also see this gives us the height of the middle of the road, 67 meters above sea level. And you can see that the section is relatively flat and give or take about 600 mils above the road. This is a great start. Flat site, easy access. Frames come to site, and after spending over a year at the planning and contract phase, this is a super exciting phase, and they stood immediately. On the back two sections, we get to work on the firewall, and the builders start working on the midfloor. As the mid-floor goes down, the scaffold goes up. This means we can get the second level frames delivered and stood. From here we go trusses, purlins and roofing iron. Here you can see a super simple roofing plan on the back two lots with two monos, one falling 10 degrees to the back, one falling 6 degrees to the front. Once the roof goes on, we can get to work finishing the exterior of the builds. You can see from these elevations here, we're going to use a mix of James Hardie Linea Weatherboard and James Hardie Linea Oblique. But before we do this, we need to pass a pre-clad inspection with the council, where they inspect all of our brackets and bracing elements to make sure that the framing is tied together correctly. Once again, we pass this with flying colours and we can finish cladding. Weatherboard goes up, windows go in. Once the painter comes in, we can drop the scaffolding, and this is a super exciting day on site as we now get to see the outside in all its glory. Moving on to the inside, we start by setting the height of the ceilings, and for this we use Rondo. Not only does it move independently from the framing and the jib screws don't pop, but it gives us a mint flat finish. This means the sparking plumber can run the pipes and wires before we put insulation in the walls and pass another inspection. This one is called pre-line. With that out of the way, we can now get on with internal linings, and the jib plasterboard goes up on the walls. We pass another inspection with the council called post line, and we can now plaster the walls. Skirting and architraves go on. Internal doors go in, and the painter can now move inside. This is the really fun point for the client, because it's where we take a generic building, a house, and we turn it into your home. And it's also the perfect point to plug my building company, Your Place. And with over 75 homes now under my belt, I've learned a thing or two about doing it on time and on budget. Is Your Place next? Now that the walls have been painted, we can crack on with internal finishings. Hard floor goes down. Kitchen cabinets go in, the stone bench gets measured. All of the internal bathroom fittings, we move on to carpet, and last but not least, all the important finishes such as door handles, even the loo roll holder. Stone bench comes in, and we can put in the sink, the tap, and the kitchen appliances. Let's take a look at the finished home. Starting with the front lot, you walk up a small pathway into the front door, and you have an open plan kitchen, living, dining. Awesome kitchen space here, and I love the on-bench storage unit to hide away everything you don't want your guests to see. Great north-facing outlook from the living room door, and on the south side of the building we have a garage with internal access. This garage has been fully insulated and can be used as an overflow space if required. And finishing off the downstairs with a guest bathroom. Moving up the stairs, we have a really nice 3-bedroom design. And what I liked up here is the outlook from each window and the central landing pad. 2 bathrooms and a walk-in closet. Main bathroom straight ahead of the stairwell with 2 bedrooms to the south side. Both have awesome outlooks. And on the north side of the property, a master bedroom with walk-in wardrobe and ensuite. Again, amazing views, beautiful all-day sun in this room. Let's have a look at the back lots. One of the first things you'll notice is that these floor plans are identical, just flipped over and slightly offset. One of the things I loved about the back 2 lots was the width of the building. They were slightly wider than our normal townhouse builds. Again, walking in the front door to an open plan kitchen, living, dining. I really liked the width of these rooms and the flow onto the patio. We've got a guest bathroom and a laundry cupboard, as well as additional storage under the stairs. Heading on up the stairs, we land on a central hallway that feeds into 3 bedrooms and a main bathroom. As the inside comes to a finish, we tackle the outside landscaping. That's right, we do the whole thing, start to finish. Not only do we prepare a concrete driveway, but we build fences, we put in washing lines, sheds for storage. We follow a planting plan. We put down the mulch, the lawn, the seed, the whole shebang ready to go. The property is looking sharp and amazing. Yo, sign off squad, you've made it to the end of another video. Thanks so much. As we're putting together this video and handing over these houses this week, I was reminded of how much I love that I get to do this. I love seeing houses come up out of the ground, and I love creating something that is going to be around for years to come. And I get a real sense of achievement that my team has created 3 beautiful homes that families are going to live in for years to come. But there's so many phases throughout that project where it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. There's so much parts of that phase. You know, it's super exciting to start a project and it's super rewarding to end a project. There's so many steps in between to get from the start to the end. And sometimes you've just got to keep showing up. You got to keep that vision in mind. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. And this is why. And then you got to do one foot after the other. And to keep that momentum, you got to celebrate your wins, slab downs, roof on, closed in. You got to stop and stand back and be like, wow, look at what we've done. And I think it's super important to celebrate your successes and stop and remember the grind. Stop and remember all those steps. So whenever I do a handover, not only do I buy a bottle of champagne for the client, I buy a bottle of champagne for myself. I pop it, I toast with Nicole, and we talk about some of the lessons learned on that project. And then I write the address on the cork and I put it in my jar. Whether you're building homes or working in an office, whether you're working for yourself or you run your own business, find a way to celebrate your wins. Stop and reflect on where you've come from, because what you're doing today is a product of what you decided to set off and do a year, 5 years, 10 years ago.